Good evening, everybody. This is Matt Webster again, back with my Christian Journey series videos. Today, I actually wanted to go over um, one of the characters on my list of characters that I wanted character quality traits from, and like writing things down, I kind of realized that there's a humorous side to this that's really funny, like with how God thinks and how God sees us. Um, and like writing it all out, I kind of became aware of not only qualities that have almost always existed with me, but qualities that God was trying to bring out. Um, and some of the stuff is interesting because there's things you start learning when you're, especially writing stuff out and taking notes and figuring out how God sees you. Now, I'd mentioned before that a lot of these things are going to seem unchristianly to some people, and that's okay. These videos aren't for those people. They're for the people that are struggling to understand and find God and see what really is, and for the people who are in Christ and understand how His love really works. So, the very first character name that I wrote down, and the thing about this too I need to mention is that I didn't write any of these characters down in any particular order. It was just how they came to me in my mind. Now, having said that, I'm almost positive that this is the way God listed them for a reason. Um, there also is a link to numbers with these, and like angel numbers in specific and what they mean. So as we go down the list, each of these characters will be numbered 1 through 7 on their respective page, and then the order, because I felt like that was the most genuine way to do it, and that's how God was kind of leading me to mark down each character, because with 35 characters, 1 through 7 made a lot of sense. Now, the very first character on this list is from the show Dragon Ball. Now, anyone who's familiar with Dragon Ball, it goes over a hero's journey. It's also related to a Japanese myth lore about a thing called Sun Wonku, or Sun. No, that doesn't matter. It's a mythology in China, in Japan, that you can look up. Sun Wukong, there we go. Now, that original thing, the character was mischievous and really not really good, to be quite frankly honest. However, the Dragon Ball iteration of the story shows a kid who comes to Earth and is kind of not accepted by many people, and he's taken in by an old man who he calls Grandpa. Now, he doesn't know that he's from another planet for a very long time. That particular part of the story probably doesn't matter too much. Part of it is that God highlighted this character in my life, and for multiple reasons. The character has very humble beginnings and origins, as you find out that he's this creature or alien from another planet, essentially, that's humanoid, has a monkey's tail. The people from his race are a warring people. They're always looking to destroy other planets and take them, almost like piracy in a way. They kind of commandeer planets and just take over them. They work for a very evil henchman, but Goku is sent off long before any of this can take place, and he's raised differently than most people in his race. Um, he's also one of the lowest standing members of his race. They have power levels and scalings in the show, and at his birth, he's considered very weak. Um, Now, the thing with Goku, by the way, this is what Goku looks like. Just gonna get that. He's kind of a goofy guy. In fact, he gets himself into a lot of trouble. He doesn't really understand the world around him, and he doesn't really ever quite fit in with social norms, which I thought was kind of great that this character was on the list, because I've always been someone who has struggled with social norms and stuff. In fact, I just tend not to fit in with people, and for a long time I strive to try to fit in, and I've kind of, as I've gotten older, just decided I don't really care, to be quite frankly honest. Um, I actually like not fitting in so much, because I see what it's causing with people around the world, where you got all these people trying to people please and trying to be these things that they're not. And I did that long enough to where it's not for me. Um, in fact, a lot of people who have seen me have seen the way I dress in different situations, and like a lot of people like roll their eyes when they see how I dress and things like that, and I kind of laugh at it because I rather enjoy it. It's funny to watch people get disturbed by something so simple as like I have some armored leather bracers that I like to wear, and um, some people think it's a show off thing, and really it's just me going, this is who I am. So, having said that, to get back into this character, Goku is often seen as a very childish character. He's kind of mischievous. He does some really goofy things. He gets along with animals really well. Um, he's selfless. And as the series progresses, he gets a desire to become stronger and fight and learn all he can because he's a martial artist. He focuses on growth and training, but not for power purposes, but for self-improvement. Some other things about this character, throughout the series, he has befriended a lot of his enemies. In fact, a lot of his enemies, after fighting him, tend to come back and they want to fight him again, or in some cases they want to be him because they want what he has. And it's this understanding that Goku has a selfless drive and want to just keep improving. He's never really satisfied with staying and stopping. He just wants to keep growing and growing and growing, which is, in a way, kind of how the Christian journey happens. Like, you fall down a little bit here and there. Maybe you get beat up, beat down, but you keep getting back up and you improve. And sometimes it's not an improvement that happens right away. You have to really dig into it, which is almost kind of like a martial arts thing. You get your butt kicked a lot in martial arts, and you can either sit there and cry about it on the mat, or you can get back up and try again. Now, the link to the angel number 111 for Goku in specific is that God is the one, and Goku represents Jesus in this scenario. And I know this is going to sound really weird because it's not going to make sense to people, but bear with me. He represents that good nature that Jesus had, that ability to look beyond what we see, and that want to pull the good out of others, even when other people see them as villains. There's all sorts of people in the Bible where this exact scenario happens. Funny enough, even some of the apostles, well, I'm named after Matthew. He was a tax collector, and tax collectors were seen some of the worst people at the time. But Jesus still saw something good in him and brought it to the forefront, and Matthew learned to serve Jesus. There's other apostles like Peter and Paul. I mean, almost all of them were people that people had seen and had thought were doing terrible things, but wound up being some of the best people because of their willingness to serve and to let go of who they were previously. Now, there's a big moment in this show that I can highlight back from my childhood and my past. This also is something that's going to link to Jesus, and I'll explain it in a minute here. Some people who are very, very, very well versed in it, unlike myself, will understand this, I think, a little bit more than people who aren't as well versed, but that's okay. Just bear with me in the understanding as I try to explain it. So, Jesus is the chosen one. He's also called the Great I Am, Lion of Judah, King of Kings. I want to focus on the I Am. So, there's actually a moment in the show when Goku is fighting this villain, just this absolute appalling character, who represents almost pure evil. He enslaved people, he destroyed planets for the fun of it. Someone who was always power hungry and always seeking more. In fact, he was never happy or satisfied with what he had, this character. And there comes a moment where Goku and him are fighting, and this character kills Goku's best friend, and Goku snaps. And it's not the bad kind of snap where it's like evil or whatever. It's almost like righteous wrath in a way. And Goku gives this really amazing speech. It's just an absolutely fantastic speech that'll represent kind of what I'm trying to enlighten here with. One thing before that I want to give those with this fight too. Goku fights him, and this villain cannot accept this defeat, and Goku even tries to show him mercy and let him leave out of kindness, even after what he did to his friend, and feeling this overwhelming urge to destroy this evil villain, he decides to show mercy instead. I think that's also something we can see with Jesus. It's like he chose mercy over casting stones. Now I want to go over this speech really, because this is one of his most iconic speeches, Goku's speeches. He says to Frieza, "I am the hope of the universe. I am the answer to all living things crying out for peace. I am the protector of the innocent. I am the light in the darkness. I am truth, ally to good, nightmare to you." Now, the reason why this is important is Jesus being called the I Am has a lot to do with this. And there's almost some similar sounding things to this that he has said in the Bible. Now I want to go over the 7 scriptures, specifically what they call the 7 I Ams that he quotes in the book of John. John 6:35, I am the bread of life. John 8:12, I am the light of the world. John 10:7, I am the door of the sheep. John 10:11, I am the good shepherd. John 11:25, I am the resurrection and the life. John 14:6, I am the truth and the life. John 15:1, I am the true vine. Now the reason why all of this is important is that what Jesus is actually doing here is giving us the power. It's something that we talk about in my men's group at church at the Living Waters Christian Fellowship Foundation. Living Waters Christian Fellowship. Sorry. One of the men there that I'm learning a lot from his name is Dan, and he's talking about how we have the power of life and death in the tongue, but we also have the authority that we've been given to speak things. Now, the reason why speech is so important in particular is like when we declare something in the name of God, what we're actually doing is sending a message to Satan himself, and by doing that, we are proclaiming God as our Savior, and we're also declaring life over ourselves. So it's an important thing, because you can speak curses over yourself if you're like always worried about things. I mean, I've done it myself. There were moments where I said I was too weak, that I wasn't good enough, and I don't say those kind of things anymore. I instead declare different kinds of things in my own life. I'll kind of give an example of that in a minute here. One of the big things I got from this too, with these learning about this character and like going back over and like kind of analyzing what God was trying to show me, some qualities that I got from Goku in particular is I want to protect innocent people, especially children. Having grown up in a very abusive household, seeing people and how they were affected, a lot of my own friends, there's a lot of things that have happened with them. I won't go over their stuff, but I'll say there's some really dark stuff in a lot of the people's lives around me. Just in my own life, a lot of mental, physical abuse from parents. I got bullied at school, bullied from family members, and I was always made to feel insignificant and small, which is how the devil was using different people in my life who weren't with God to kind of like bring me down, even though God was showing me that there was a lot more. Kind of give you an example too. It's been brought up a lot in my life, and I've wondered why for a while now. And David was one of the characters brought up from the Bible, in my own life. And part of that is that when David went to take on Goliath, is that David was small. And God has been trying to tell me for a long time that he's not worried about the size of physical stature. There's something that's been inside me that's kind of also present in Goku, and that's an overwhelmingly big heart. Because God sees the inner workings of you, and it's like that heart and that love that you radiate to other people is a big deal. And there's a lot of my friends that even represent characters along with shows and stuff. Kind of give another thing, a little example here. This was something I got from me and my friend. He's my best friend, and he kind of represents a character who initially was an enemy of Goku, but later on became his like best friend throughout the series. Someone who also pushes Goku to keep going and keep doing better, and every time Goku gets better, he also gets better. So, I mean, that's honestly how Christianity works too, when you think about how funny that is. That a lot of times, even though you're pushing others to get better, it's making you better as well. Now, I want to go back to the last little note here, and that's that the I am speech was something that Jesus was showing us how to declare things over our own life. Those two words are in particularly some of the most powerful words that he has ever given us. Because when you say the words I am in conjunction with anything positive, you're declaring something over your life. You're also telling God that you know who he's called you to be. So in my own example, God has called me to be a knight, a protector of people. God has called me to be a hope of a lawless generation, a lost generation. So when you say something like this, like, I am the hope of my generation, I am the light that's coming from within, I am a knight to the people, you're telling God that you know what he's called you to be. And you're also declaring to the devil that he has no standing with you. Anyways, I hope this video found you guys enlightening, and you can kind of see why some of this stuff might seem goofy to some people, which is great. Again, I think the goofier the stuff, the better, quite frankly, because it kind of has a sense of humor with God, with about how he sees you and how everyone else around you sees you. I mean, one other thing about Goku is people said he's a lovable idiot, and like, I'm okay with that, quite frankly. Being a lovable idiot is something a lot better than being a clueless butthead. Anyways, look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.